Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to take an initial look at this new Zhiyun Weebill S and talk about how it compares to Weebill Lab and even briefly touch on Ronin SC. I might call this like part 1 since there will be a follow-up video. Zhiyun did send me a Weebill S from Hong Kong, but it's currently in a DHL facility. So where did I get this? That's my buddy Vu from MVu Films. If you have seen some of his YouTube videos, that clip's supposed to make kind of sense. No? Never seen it? Well, then it's just a clip of me buying him lunch for thanking him for letting me borrow this brand new gimbal. If you found that clip to be even like teeny bit funny, you should definitely check out his channel. He also has an initial impression video on the Weebill S. Yeah, sorry Vu, I'm not really doing a good job selling that, but wait till the end of the video though. But first, let's start with Weebill Lab versus Weebill S. From the outside, this gimbal looks pretty much identical from the previous one. They put some color into some of these pieces like the silver line here, which looks like metal, but everything plastic is still plastic. The biggest outer appearance differences are tilt and roll balancing adjustment screws, more secure axis locks, folded thickness profile, and more finger space for underslung mode, and definitely the beefed up arms. Let's go over those. On the Weebill Lab, the tilt and roll balancing adjustment screws were these tiny little turn screws that needed like couple revolutions to actually tighten it. Now it's this giant lever, although it does stick out. I actually like this since you can tell right away when the adjustments are not locked. On the Weebill Lab, you can't really tell by looking at the screw, and that can lead to like camera sliding around by accident sometimes. Speaking of accidents, Weebill Lab has these swing axis locks that always gets knocked around and lock the axis by accident. Weebill S has much improved secure sliding axis lock that very similar to like Ronin SC, and it feels very rugged and it feels much more secure. So one of the reasons why the Weebill S is so much cheaper than the Weebill Lab during launch price is because they made this image transmission module separate as an add-on. This does actually make the base model Weebill S smaller when folded down. Not that Weebill Lab was like huge, but if the thickness of folded down Weebill Lab was an issue, you'd be happy to know that it fits into even tighter space in your book bag now. On the opposite spectrum, you actually do get more room for your fingers when you put the gimbal into like underslung mode. On my Weebill Lab review, I called the underslung mode red knuckle mode, since if you have large hands, it would actually rub against the roll motor. At first, I thought this was gonna be like a worse issue since the S version made the camera compartment much larger, but nope, they actually tilted the handle mount down so you have so much more room for your fingers. More points for Weebill S since that was actually one of the drawbacks of the Weebill Lab. Lastly, on the outer appearance difference, the arm got beefier to really support that heavier setup, and the motor is a little bit thicker. Waist down, it's actually exactly the same. Looks like someone skipped leg day. Yeah, because these arm motors have 300% more torque than the Weebill Lab. There is no official max payload specs for the Weebill S. It's just that powerful. You can't quantify it. A lot of times I review these gimbals, someone always asks, does it work with this lens? And thanks to Zhiyun, I can just say, hey, check out the list documentation link in the description below. I mean, in this list, it has Canon 5D Mark IV with 24-70 f2.8 on it. That's a heavy setup, heavier than the Sony full frame with the 24-70 GM. That alone makes this gimbal very unique. This gimbal can take on almost any practical gimbal lens without the eyepiece hitting the motor. Another unique feature on this gimbal is the ability to change everything from the OLED screen menu directly on the gimbal. What does that mean in real life scenario? If you like use any kind of gimbal long enough, you may have run into this horizon being off. If you're in the middle of the shoot and you really don't have time to like connect to your phone and the app to change it, this is a game changer. You can now quickly adjust any parameters like the horizon level with just a couple of clicks directly from the gimbal. I love this trend because if the app is like obsolete in 7 years and Apple no longer supports it, it's nice to know that you still have 100% control over your gimbal. But I do want to mention the app. If you watch my Ronin SC versus Weebill Lab video, I totally knocked on the Weebill Lab because the horrible app stability. I think I gave it a 4 out of 10 in that area. Well, I'm very excited to say the app stability has vastly improved. Just connecting to the app was a huge task for the Weebill Lab before. The newest ZY Play app connected seamlessly very fast. Interestingly, Weebill Lab now works really well with the new app too. DJI still has a slight advantage when it comes to like usability and UI design, but Zhiyun improved the app so much it's no longer a problem category. I'm not gonna go over all the category comparison for Ronin SC since I did a full comparison video with the Weebill Lab not too long ago. If you're feeling like you really want to know more about the Ronin SC comparison, you should definitely check out that video right over here. I do want to mention one area that Ronin SC is better than the Weebill S though. That is tilted orbital move. Now the Weebill S does have much improved algorithm when it comes down to like smooth movements. I tested this earlier today with my kids, and out of the box, Weebill S responded so much smoother than the Weebill Lab. Having said that, one of the things that Ronin SC was really good at was the tilted orbital move. It's kind of hard to explain it in here, so let's go back outside and test this out. We'll start with the Weebill Lab. I'm going to exaggerate my move so you can see better. Tilted orbital move is when you tilt the gimbal and try to twist the gimbal to orbit an object. Right there. It jerks to the left pretty drastically. Let's try that with Weebill S. I'm going to tilt it, twist it, and right there. Not as drastic, but it's still there. Now with Ronin SC, tilt, twist, and rotate around an object. That was a smooth, extreme tilted orbital move. So looking at that example, you may be thinking Ronin SC is so much smoother, but in reality, it's only for that one particular move, and you'll learn to kind of avoid it. If you consider the weight limit of Ronin SC and the limited space for the camera inside the mounting area, Weebill S is so much more capable and smoother when it comes to full frame camera and heavier lens setups. Let me show you. This is an interesting test I did with Sony a7 III and 55mm f1.8 with an SLR Magic anamorphic adapter. So here's a footage of Ronin SC while jogging towards the truck. And here's a footage of Weebill S doing the same thing. Just out of pure motor power, Weebill S felt incredibly powerful even at 55mm. Ronin SC on the other hand suffered from this jitter every time my feet hit the ground. Weebill S is what I would call a scalable gimbal. One, I don't have to sacrifice portability and small form factor for the possibility of putting on any Sony lens I may get in the future. Two, it has the modular design of optional focus motor and image transmission module if I need that functionality down the road, but it will be unreasonable if I conclude that this is the perfect gimbal at this time, because obviously I still need to do a lot more testing. I need to throw on some heavier lenses and really use this gimbal during like actual client jobs. In fact, Vu and I actually have a wedding shoot tomorrow. I am his second shooter. Plot twist for some people. If I don't get the new Weebill S by tomorrow, I'll be using the Weebill Lab, and Vu will definitely be using this Weebill S. By the time you watch this video, I think he would have finished his sneak peek video on his channel, so he usually like labels which lens and which gimbal we use for each shot, so that should be like a really good example. Let me say this though, I would like you to watch this video not as a scientific comparison video, but as what these gimbals are capable of and how it can be used. That example video will be linked in the description below and at the end of this video. Meanwhile, I'll be doing a lot more tests with this gimbal to make my part 2 video, so let me go work on that. Until then, make it a good one, guys.